Hey guys, it's Mikko from ML Sound Lab, and once again I'm hanging with my very good friend John Simons from Sonic Drive Studio. I'm gonna let John introduce himself and his channel.
Hi guys, John here, Sonic Drive Studio. Check out my channel for gear-related videos, amplifiers, guitars, and all that good stuff. And it's a pleasure to hang out with Mikko once again, as we recently did as well, talking about our favorite guitar tones and stuff.
Yeah, and this time around, I thought we'd actually talk about our favorite guitars. Now, this is a difficult one, but I thought it would be very interesting because, first of all, John and I are a long-time friends, and we've known each other ever since we were like kids on forum, and now we're grown up, and it just so happens that we like very different kinds of guitars. And I think it's a very interesting video to actually talk about what our kind of top three at the moment are, and for what reason, and stuff like that. And maybe I'll appreciate his choices more after this video, and maybe he will also like vintage guitars after this, but I doubt it'll happen. I'm gonna once again let John go first with what is one of his top three guitars right now.
So this is actually a very new guitar. Most of the guitars on my list will be quite new. I got this a couple of weeks ago, and this is one of my very first ESP E2 Eclipses. It has the double binding, and the finish is called Granite Sparkle. So it is nice and sparkly.
Looks beautiful, man.
And when I took this thing out of the case, I was just blown away by the craftsmanship. And it's so inspiring to play. It sounds so good and it plays so well. And I really like the finish. And the pickups are the EMG 57 and 66 TWs. So you can like coil tap them or something. They're not like my favorite pickups, but because of the fact that the guitar itself is so great, I don't even mind. You know what I mean?
It's so weird. I'll be completely honest and say that I've never owned a single ESP or LCD guitar. I'm not sure why, but maybe it's a rabbit hole that I've been successfully avoiding. But everyone who has those guitars like swear by them and have tons of them, just like you do.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure what I base my purchases on and why I get certain guitars, but I've never necessarily felt gas towards an ESP and LCD, but I do know something about them. I'll be honest, I don't even use active pickups, so I'm like fish out of water. I don't know what to say about that guitar other than it looks beautiful, almost like a Les Paul custom, right? Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of LTDs and I love them, both with active and passive pickups and everything. But when I got my first two E2s, I have another one, I was like blown away just by the quality and the craftsmanship and the feel. So this is definitely on my list of sort of picks of some of my favorites.
That's awesome. By the way, do you play active pickups most of the time, or do you also have passives? Or
I have a lot of passives as well. I like both. I mean, if I had to choose, I would go with passives.
Okay.
But I love both. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've used passives for most of my life and never really questioned it. And I obviously I've tried active ones, but I've never owned a guitar with active pickups. So there's that.
There's still time.
There's still time. I mean, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Probably try out and find the best active pickups out there.
There you go.
Okay, I think I'm gonna, because you had sort of like a Les Paul style guitar, pick a Les Paul. And this was actually a little bit difficult because I have vintage Les Pauls too. It could have been any of my guitars, but I thought it would be interesting to go with one that isn't actually that expensive even. It has a very beautiful top, and just, what can I say? It's a Les Paul standard. Now, the differences between Les Paul standards, obviously, throughout the times, with weight and stuff like that, is the thing that varies, and tone and stuff like that. This is a very lightweight guitar. It has the weight relief that some people don't like. Originally, it had the push-pulls and stuff like that. I took all of it out, so this is actually very vintage now in spec, but originally it was not. The reason I like this is that it's so lightweight. It has a small neck, especially for a Gibson Les Paul, and it doesn't really play like a heavy Les Paul. So I think I could give this guitar to any guitar player and they would actually be able to play all sorts of modern music on it. It's very comfortable a guitar. I do have heavy vintage Les Pauls there that sound amazing, but if I was playing live, standing up playing, I don't think I would pick anything else but this out of the bunch. So if you've never heard of Gibson Les Pauls, go check them out. I'm sure Gibson needs some promotion for, no one's ever heard of this company, right?
Yeah. All right, here's my next one. This is my Schecter E1 Apocalypse Red Rain. And I wasn't expecting this guitar to become one of my favorites, but this definitely is one of my favorites right now.
It looks like you only play Metallica riffs on that. I mean, how many strings does it have? It's a 6-string. Okay, it's your Metallica guitar then.
It's a 6-string, and the Schecter E1 or Explorer shape is a little bit different. Some tweaks here and there.
Okay.
But this guitar just sounds so good, and it plays so well. It's just the perfect guitar, like swamp ash body, so it's nice and resonant, And the neck is satin, so it's super smooth. Stainless steel frets.
Oh, that's
really
cool.
Well crafted. Passive pickups, USA Schecter passive pickups.
Do you feel like with stainless steel frets, do you feel like guitars get brighter? Because I've noticed that on my guitars, like I always like them that if they have stainless steel frets and they sound brighter and very clear sounding. That's something that I've really started to pay a lot of attention to, having that brightness out of those guitars.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I've never compared a guitar.
I'm strictly saying because I have a bunch of Gibsons and 3 of them have stainless steel frets on them, and they are the brightest sounding ones. And if anything, on a Les Paul, you sometimes struggle with it sounding too fat, and those are very bright sounding, almost like a Telecaster style tone. So I'm starting to assume and trust that if you have stainless frets, you maybe have a brighter sound.
I mean, I do believe in subtle differences like that, so it could be, but I've just never done a test to prove that or something. But who knows? Yeah, like the pickups, these are passives. I mean, my previous guitar had EMGs, and these are just so crunchy and wonderful. So this guitar is really high on my list, and I love the contrast between, the front, the high gloss front, and the satin back.
I was just
really
about to say, guitar. I like the red color, but it looks awesome on the back, like almost better on the behind of the guitar.
I agree. Yeah.
I bet you're not playing some John Mayer stuff on that guitar, like some heavy riffs.
No. Yes. Drop C.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna show probably one of my oldest guitars, and this is what got me falling in love with PRS guitars back in the day. So, like I said, PRS. This is early 90s. So this is a CE24, and it's probably one of the least eye candy guitars of my collection. But once again, this is a very lightweight guitar, and it's an old. I suppose you would call this a vintage PRS at this point. I have a bunch of PRSs, by the way, and this just is special to me because I think it was early 2000s when I wanted to get into PRS guitars, but as they are now, they're extremely expensive. So what you could do is you could find some crazy deals on CE24s, and I think I paid €1,000 for this, so pretty much $1,000 US, and pounds probably £800 or something. So it was like my introduction to PRS, and I was like, I'm just gonna get some kind of a PRS guitar. Turns out this is probably the best guitar in my collection. Whenever anyone plays this, they're like, can they buy this guitar? It's that good. Like, I'm not sure what it is. It's so comfortable because it's so lightweight, and the sound is amazing. These are the HFS and vintage bass pickups, but from the early 90s, I think they sound very different to my other PRS guitars. It's just so amazing. Nothing fancy, basic, cheap wood, you would say, but the carve is very pronounced on these older models. if it looked like this and sounded like crappy, I'd probably have sold this already. But it's probably my kind of guitar that if I have to pick one out of my collection that is the most Mikko guitar, it's this one. And I play quite heavy riffs with this, so I probably use this for new metal most if I have to play something from that genre. So, well, I suppose it looks like a Wes Borland guitar if you really think about it. Kind of,
nice.
Maybe.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you have PRS guitars, by the way?
No, I recently sold my last one. I had a proper one for a little while, and I had a bunch of the SE baritones. Those were cool, but I just didn't use them as much.
Yeah.
So I don't have any anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Like, I have newer PRS guitars too, and while they are amazing and nothing necessarily wrong with them, I'm not sure why I'm not really falling that much in love with them as I am with this. Obviously, I have the Navarro white one, which is also, it was almost a tie with this one. Those two are like in their own category of amazing guitars, but the newer PRS guitars, even though they look beautiful and I'm sure they're amazing guitars, for some reason just I've never put them in that category of best guitar in my collection. Okay, is this the super duper expensive one?
Yeah, I actually released a video on this guitar a couple days ago. This is my recent acquisition. It's an Ibanez Custom Shop M8M Meshuggah Signature 8-string, so made in Japan by the Sugi people. And yeah, this was like a dream guitar as a Meshuggah fan.
Dude.
You know, unobtainable, but for some magical reason, I was able to get one, and I got it. And you only live once, right?
That looks like something that Italians use to put pizza in their oven.
Yeah.
I mean that in the good sense, by the way. It looks like a workhorse, and is it comfortable? Yeah. Is it heavy?
It's not super heavy. I don't mind heavy. I actually like heavy guitars.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this
me
is
too.
Just like
to some
average.
Extent. All my favorites are super lightweight, but yeah, I love heavy guitars.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it's like normal. I don't know. I don't weigh my guitars, but it's okay, you know? And I love that it's neck through. And it's 29.4 inches scale length, which is like the Meshuggah scale.
That is
single.
It's almost like a short scale bass, then, right?
Kind of, yeah. And it's so simple, you know. And people are all in the comments like, "Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's worth it to me."
Well, I can definitely take it up a notch with "Is it worth it?" with my next choice, but I can't wait. As far as guitar weight goes, I feel like when I'm playing here at home sitting down, I actually prefer heavier guitars because they just stay in your lap. You don't constantly have to hold the neck and stuff like that. They just for some reason sit really well when you're sitting down on your lap and stuff like that. And I don't really see any difference in tone from weight necessarily. I'm sure people will argue that, but it's more of a comfort thing. I would say that is more important when playing guitar, that you feel comfortable with the guitar. So sometimes in some circumstances, heavier guitars, I actually prefer them. Standing up and playing live, I want them to be as light as possible.
I did have some guitars that were really light, and then I did really feel like I couldn't get the low end response the way I wanted it, and that's one of the reasons why I always tend to gravitate a little bit more towards heavier guitars, although I also have some that are a little bit more light, and those definitely do sound chunky, so it's not very black and white, you know what I mean? It's just something that I've encountered.
I think where the differences start coming from is if you have a super light guitar, chances are your neck is super thin, and it might be made out of some wood that is not so steady. So tuning stability becomes a problem. I have some really lightweight guitars like that, where if I bend the neck, I can get them going out of tune super easily. While if you have a very heavy guitar with a thick neck, it's very solid and for that reason stays in tune better. So I'm looking at it more from like a mechanical standpoint rather than is there resonance or something like that. But I mean, that is arguable, obviously.
Yeah. You're next, man. You're the final one.
The final one is, this was also difficult because I have two of these. Comments down below if it's worth it. Most people will say not, but I believe it is.
It's entirely up to you.
It's entirely up to you. But I actually have two of these. When you say, sounds crazy, but pre-CBS Fender Stratocaster. So this is an actual vintage 62 to 63 Stratocaster. So this was actually mostly manufactured in 62, but the neck stamp is from January 63. And so it's kind of a transitional thing. So Fender Stratocaster, once again, a company that needs more promotion. People probably don't know this guitar that well.
The Strat is based on the Silver Sky, right?
Yeah. This is the, they saw what John Mayer did with the Silver Sky and they made this.
Yeah.
But yeah, funnily enough, you would mention that because Silver Sky is a 63 Strat clone. This is an actual 63 Strat. So the other one, like I said, I have two, is a 64. So this year I actually got really into vintage guitars, and I have vintage Gibsons too. I'm an idiot, by the way. But but this guitar is one that started it for me. And for the longest time I was not able to find a 62 or 63, 64. Those are kind of the magic 3 years, maybe from 60 to 64. If you find like a Fender Stratocaster, that's many times considered the golden standard. Like Jimi Hendrix recorded his studio albums on these, even though live he played later versions. And John Mayer, all the guitar legends, Red Hot Chili Peppers, John Frusciante, everyone's playing a pre-CBS Stratocaster. So that is the era you want to get. So you have Brazilian rosewood fretboard, and you have all these vintage things that cost a lot of money because they're vintage. This is a player grade guitar, so I didn't pay 50,000 for this, just to be clear. If someone's in the comments like, oh, this guy is rich, it's not that. So it's a refinish. So for that reason, it was not that expensive. But yeah, is it worth it? I mean, I bet I could pick one of my €1,000 US American vintage Stratocasters and record 2 tracks, and most people would not tell the difference. But it's not the reason why you have a guitar like this. It's more like you have a piece of history, and for that value, people are ready to pay. And these kinds of investments, I think, similar to your Meshuggah guitar, are the kind of guitars that potentially are sort of places where you hold value, kind of like an investment. If someday, first of all, if you love it so much, then you're never going to sell it. But if you are going to sell it later on, I think the value of it may quadruple or something like that, depending on how things go. So that is part of why you own a guitar in this caliber, like your Meshuggah guitar or this.
Awesome.
Do you have single coil guitars? Because I don't think I've ever seen you with a single coil guitar.
I used to have some Strats and I used to have some Tellys, but I came to realize that it just isn't my thing. So I only have like one guitar, and that's like a metal 7-string Schecter guitar that has a single coil in the neck, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that I noticed too. When I get used to playing on a Strat, when I go back to humbucker guitars, it feels like very different. You have to almost play them differently as your main guitar. I've been playing Strats mostly this year, so getting back to something like a Gibson Les Paul felt like I wasn't getting the clarity out of it that I wanted to, and then I had to lower the gain and tweak all my settings to be completely different. Then again, when I got into Strats, after being used to humbucker guitars, I would always feel like these are so weak sounding. Like, what can I do to make this work? And ultimately, it was all I just need more gain. That is what it is all about. But yeah, you get noise with single coils and stuff like that. So you wouldn't necessarily choose this as the best option for your metalcore album or something like that. Wouldn't be your first choice.
No, not for me. I mean, I love John Mayer and stuff, but I just don't play that music. I decided, I'm going to play the music that I love and that I really enjoy, and that's it, And it's still a broad style. I do clean stuff, I do crunchy stuff, I do more classic stuff, I do modern stuff. So it's still a broad style, but I'm not going to pretend or try to be something that I'm not anymore.
I like your tracks when you play like classic rock style. Like I think you got like a Gibson Les Paul Custom at one point, and you were playing tracks that were more rock. I actually really like those sounds too. So you definitely know how to play that style, but obviously we are always going to play what influences us to actually want to pick up the guitar. Like, the downside of having this as your job is that it's your job now. It's not your hobby anymore. So at least for me, it becomes a thing where I want to have a guitar that when I come to work, I feel like, oh man, that inspires me to do something today. And I know it might sound weird to some people, but that is what it becomes for me, at least, doing this for a living. Thank you guys for watching this video. I think me and John, we're going to try and have conversations like this, depending on how these go. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like these kinds of videos where we talk about guitar tones and guitar stuff and like this, comment down below, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. John has an amazing guitar YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, go there and do that as well. And please leave comments down below what you want us to talk next time, if we're going to do this ever again. Thank you for watching the video. See you on the next one. I've been Mikko from MO Sound Lab. Bye.